"I think I have had that pleasure," the American replied, shaking hands with Lutchester and Holderness. "Now we'll get an independent opinion," the former observed, pointing to the wall. "We were discussing that notice, Mr. Fischer. You're almost as much a Londoner as a New Yorker. What do you think? Is it superfluous or not?" Fischer read it out and smiled. "Well," he admitted, "in America we don't lay much store by that sort of thing, but I don't know as we're very good judges about what goes on over here. I shouldn't call this place, anyway, a hotbed of intrigue. Excuse me." He moved off to greet some incoming guests, a well known stockbroker and his partner. Lutchester looked after him curiously. "Is Mr. Fischer one of your typical millionaires, Miss Van Tale?" he asked. She shrugged her shoulders. "We have no typical millionaires," she assured him. "They come from all classes and all states." "Fischer is a Westerner, isn't he?" Pamela nodded, but did not pursue the conversation. Her eyes were fixed upon a girl who had just entered, and who was looking a little doubtfully around, a girl plainly but smartly dressed, with fluffy light hair, dark eyes, and a very pleasant expression. Pamela, who was critical of her own sex, found the newcomer attractive. "Is that by any chance one of our missing guests, Captain Holderness?" she inquired, turning towards him. "I don't know why, but I have an idea that it is your sister." "By Jove, yes!" the young man assented, stepping forward. "Here we are, Molly, and at last you are going to meet Miss Van Tale. I've bored Molly stiff talking about you," he explained, as Pamela held out her hand. The girls, who stood talking together for a moment, presented rather a striking contrast. Molly Holderness was pretty, but usual. Pamela was beautiful and unusual. She had the long, slim body of a New York girl, the complexion and eyes of a Southerner, the savoir faire of a Frenchwoman. She was extraordinarily cosmopolitan, and yet extraordinarily American. She impressed every one, as she did Molly Holderness at that moment, with a sense of charm. One could almost accept as truth her own statement, that she valued her looks chiefly because they helped people to forget that she had brains. "I won't admit that I have ever been bored, Miss Van Tale," Molly Holderness assured her, "but Dick has certainly told me all sorts of wonderful things about you. How kind you were in New York, and what a delightful surprise it was to see you down at the hospital at Nice. I am afraid he must have been a terrible crock then." "Got well in no time, as soon as Miss Van Tale came along," Holderness declared. "It was a bit dreary down there at first. None of my lot were sent south, and a familiar face means a good deal when you've got your lungs full of that rotten gas and are feeling like nothing on earth. I wonder where that idiot Sandy is. I told him to be here a quarter of an hour before you others. Thought we might have had a quiet chat first. Will you stand by the girls for a moment, Lutchester, while I have a look round?" he added. He hobbled away, one of the thousands who were thronging the streets and public places of London, brave, simple-minded young men, all of them, with tangled recollections in their brains of blood and fire and hell, and a game leg or a lost arm to remind them that the whole thing was not a nightmare. He looked a little disconsolately around, and was on the point of rejoining the others, when the friend for whom he was searching came hurriedly through the turnstile doors. "Sandy, old chap!" Holderness exclaimed with an air of relief. "Here you are at last." "Cheerio, Dick," was the light-hearted reply. "Fearfully sorry I'm late, but listen, just listen for one moment." The newcomer threw his hat and coat to the attendant. He was a rather short, freckled young man, with a broad, high forehead and light-coloured hair. His eyes just now were filled with the enthusiasm which trembled in his tone. "Dick," he continued, gripping his friend's arm tightly, "I'm late, I know, but I've great news. I've motored straight up from Salisbury Plain. I've done it. I swear to you, Dick, I've done it." "Done what?" Holderness demanded, a little bewildered. "I've perfected my explosive. The whole thing I was telling you about last week," was the triumphant reply. "The whole world's struggling for it, Dick. The German chemists have been working night and day for 3 years, just for one little formula, and I've got it. One of my shells, which fell in a wood at daylight this morning, killed every living thing within a mile of it. The bark fell off the trees, and the labourers in a field beyond threw down their implements and ran for their lives. It's the principle of intensification. The poison feeds on its own vapours. The formula, I've got it in my pocketbook. Look here."